Hey everyone, welcome back to the Unleashed Alchemy show here on YouTube. Tamara Tamu here. On this channel, we talk about the importance of embracing your sovereignty, embracing spirituality as the backbone of every single part of your life so that you can stand in your I am power to go against the grain, to create, to call in the soul fulfilled life that you were put here to live in and to exist in and to be in. Okay, welcome back. I've got a fun topic to talk to you about. All right, and this is a topic that I don't see talked about a lot when it comes to spirituality, and that's imagination. All right, so let's get into it. Now, if you've been here, for those of you that are new here, you will start to learn that I love looking at etymology, okay? The anatomy of words. I don't know if that's the definition or the right definition of etymology, but that's how I look at it. The anatomy of words, where the words come from, what the beneath the surface definition of words are. That is fascinating to me. So now, before we get into that for the word imagination, I want to say this. If you see me looking down, it's because I have notes. Because you know, when I don't have notes, that's living out on the edge. All right, so we need notes here. So your physical body, all parts of your physical body, it is a portal to receive. All right, it is a portal to receive. It is how we embody our spiritual gifts. It is how we embrace our spiritual gifts. It is how we use our spiritual gifts through our bodies. All right, through our hands. All right, through our skin, through our feet. Our entire bodies, we're portals. We are energetic portals, okay, to receive from divine source. All right, so we'll come back to that point, but let's get into imagination. So if you break that word into three parts, you have I, which we could break that down, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to keep it simple. I is you, is me, I. Okay, magi, and then nation. So let's look at magi, M-A-G-I. Now, magi comes from magical, magic. And I'm going to use an example from the Bible. The reason why I'm using the Bible is because the Bible is a work of metaphysical examples. Okay, it is a work of spells. It is a work of sorcery. It is a work of astrology. It is a work of alchemy. It is a work of magic. Okay, so there are still some jewels as far as what it represents that we can pull from, which is why I'm using that. I'm going to use just a brief story to break down what magi is. So we all know the story of the three wise men who followed the star to get to baby Yahshua, to get to another star. Okay, now they say three wise men. For all we know, it could have been three wise women. But we'll save that for another episode. All right, so for the sake of this episode, because it's a story we're all familiar with, I think the three wise men were considered the magi. So let's look at wise. Magi, wise, to be guided by your higher self. To be magi means to be guided by your higher self, to be guided by elevated consciousness, to be guided by Christ's consciousness, to be guided by your higher mind, to allow for your body to be a portal of intuition. First of all, to understand that you have to follow this star to get to where your higher mind is taking you, regardless of whether following that higher star makes sense to anybody else or not. You are allowing yourself to be guided because you understand that your body is a portal to receive guidance. It is a portal of intuition, accessing and knowing that you have access to that internal magic to know when you are being guided. So the three wise men, these magi, these wise men knew how to access their internal magic, to know, to intuitively, to look at that star, to be guided to a certain place. We can fill in the blank to what that certain place is, all right? Or a certain place is. Now, we have magi, and we have nation. Etymology of nation means a united sovereign creation. Your nation, when you tap into your higher mind, when you tap into your elevated consciousness, when you allow that to be expressed through your body, when you allow that wisdom, that inner wisdom, that intuition to come through and be expressed into every single aspect of your life, into every single thing that you do and say, you are creating your united sovereign nation. Your external environment has to conform to what your higher mind is guiding you toward. All right? So, imagination. Get it? Got it? Good. All right. So, why don't we view imagination as a gift? Why don't we view imagination as an avenue that Spirit uses to guide us, to get messages to us? Well, I have a few reasons. So, let's talk about them. Number one, imagination is frowned upon. Imagination is viewed as frivolous. It's viewed as a waste of time. It's viewed as childish. How many of you, or perhaps many of you, have heard or used to hear when you were a young child, get your head out of the clouds and be realistic? All right? We get messages like that now as adults. It may not be word for word, get your head out of the clouds, but we've heard be realistic. So, this is what we're dealing with. This is why we don't use our imagination. So, as children, when we were in our imagination, we probably didn't realize what we were doing at the time. But what we were doing is we were honing in on our natural ability to what? To create our united sovereign nation. To connect with the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is not this place out there. The kingdom of heaven is here. All right? To connect with the kingdom of heaven internally. I want to repeat that. As children, when we were in our imagination, what we were doing is honing in on our natural ability to connect with the kingdom of heaven internally. We were activating and embracing the magic to see in the physical what has already been completed in the cosmos, what has already been completed in our elevated consciousness. But what happens when we become adults? What happens? What happens? Think about that. What happens? What happens? We keep the programming that imagination is frivolous, a waste of time, and it's unrealistic and it's childish. Because I don't have time to sit and imagine because there's real work to be done. I don't have time. All right. So then what do? We cut off our imagination. But really, what are we cutting off? We're cutting off our sovereignty. We're cutting off our ability to bring in the kingdom of heaven, our imagination, into the external. We cut off our creative magic. We cut off our communication from spirit. We cut off our intuition. We put a lid and a limit on our spiritual gifts. Imagination, when it is used in its, when we look at it in the most sovereign way, when we look at it in the most divine way, imagination is part of the way that spirit speaks to us. So, I just said this, connecting with our imagination can be a way for us to hone in on our spiritual gifts. When we suppress our imagination, we suppress our own power and magic. We get enough of external things or external systems trying to suppress us. So why would we voluntarily raise our hand and say, hey, let me help you out there. Let me just go ahead and do that. Let me just go ahead and finish off the suppression. That's what we do as adults. Then we start to distrust our own senses that go beyond the usual, because your imagination takes you beyond what you're used to. It takes you beyond the natural senses. It takes you into the supernatural. And we tell ourselves, we become distrusting of our own inner wisdom. We become distrusting of our own elevated consciousness. And we tell ourselves, oh, you're just making things up. You're just making things up in your mind. And this is what we talk about. I help people and I support people inside the Magic School, and also as a part of my 90-day spiritual consulting package, where you become confident in functioning in your spiritual gifts, whatever they are. If it has not been revealed to you, if you don't know what they are, if you truly don't know what they are, inside the Magic School and with the 90-day consulting package, you will be very clear on what they are. Okay, you'll be very clear on what they are. You will no longer be afraid to embrace them and use them and function in them. And this is not about you having a t-shirt that says, I am functioning in my spiritual gifts. I am a psychic. I am a medium. I am a reader. I am this. I am healer. No. It's about you accepting within and just allowing those gifts to be expressed through conversation with anyone throughout your day-to-day life, because it's about integration. There is no separation. All right. So when we use our imagination in the most divine, sovereign, loving way, we are allowing elevated consciousness and infinite intelligence to be expressed through us. That is a spiritual gift that will come through and will magnetize us for all things loving, for all things good. Okay, I talk about living a soul-fulfilled life. That is a part of us living a soul-fulfilled life when we allow those spiritual gifts to come through. All right, so that is it for this episode. I will leave the link for the Magic School and the same link you can use to get more information on my 90-day spiritual odyssey package, consulting package, excuse me. And yes, so that is it for today's episode. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments. Oh, and one last thing. If you would like to receive monthly energetic readings, if you would like to be a part of that email, at the top of every month, I send out to your inbox, to your email, a general reading on the energies that could be possible for the upcoming month. All right. Yes, starting even a new day can be exciting, but let's not ignore the anxiety that could come with it as well. So, if you are looking for a way to have more ease into going into a new month, these readings could be the way in which you find that ease. So, sign up to receive the monthly energetic readings. The link for that will also be in the description box of this video. All right, until next time, cheers.